Guys, so let's take a peek at some new metric that's important. It's not new, but it's something that people don't really talk about. They might talk about this here or there. I'm not really sure, but anyway, you have market price, right? And then you have transaction fees, which are two different things. But here we have a fee and reward. Okay, some people might talk about this, but this is what I would consider to be a very important metric, okay, on whether your quote-unquote crypto or your digital currency is... So here, we can't really compare them because, look, okay, so let's go to BTC for a second. And I'm going to change this. This is a 6-month chart. Let's do all time, okay? So here's BTC of all time. And this is, if it hits all the way to the top up here, that means 80% of the block reward, right, was in fees. So that's not even over 100%. If you think about it, that's not a lot. Like, in the future, it's going to have to be all fees and 0% block reward, right? So this is just bitinfocharts.com. And now look, this is only 8%, right? So BSV, I just switched it to BSV. See how there's an 8 at the top? It's not 80, but just 8. And you might think, oh, well, so maybe BTC is doing better. Well, hold on a second. Look at 2019, right? Look at 2020. Now, this is what's creepy, right? This is why BSV is actually going to take over. This is why BSV is actually... Look at this. Now, this is magic right here. This is crazy. What is this? Early or mid 2021. Okay. This is crazy. Now, I'm going to switch to a 6 months chart. Okay, now look at this. It used to be like hardly anything, and then it goes up a little bit, right? And this is just 1%, right? So this means the node is only getting 1% of its money from transaction fees. So now I understand. Just looking at this chart, if Craig Wright was drunk over the last couple decades with depression, I would understand why, because of how much... Imagine the difficulty. Imagine just how insane it is that it took up until April of 2021 before you even get this, like, 1%. I mean, just think of how crazy that is. Because this has, in order to be successful, for this thing to thrive on its own, for Bitcoin to be successful, this has to go to 100% in the long run. And just think, 2021, when did he make the paper? In 2008? But now look at this. This is so crazy. 3 months, right? So here we are. Okay. This is 2020. Where's our history? Oh, this only goes up to 2021. So this doesn't even show us anything past. That's crazy, though. Okay, hold on a second. Something's not right here. So BTC, here's at 20%, but let me look at this. 2%. And that's in the 2024 time range. This is only 2021, and then what? It stops. Why does it stop? Why does it stop? Why doesn't it show anything of 2024? So if this is higher, if this is going up to 10%, 20%, 50%, think about that. That means that BSV is actually winning. It looks like they don't have a history of it anymore. They must have canceled it. It's like it's not there. Yeah, see, they even have a tweets. So there's like, tweets is like what? That doesn't tell you anything. The average transaction fee, you want that to be as low as possible. Right? Here we go. Average block size. Now see, look at this. BTC's nothing for the average block size compared to BSV. But again, the history. Why does the history of BSV? Now that goes up to 2024. Okay. So what's the deal? Number of transactions. Okay. But I'm interested in, maybe there's another website that shows this. This is the average fee. Maybe the information isn't collected. I don't understand. How is that possible? Why is the information not there? Fee and reward. Average fee percentage in total block reward. Why would they not have that information on BSV? That's the metric that blows the cover. I mean, think about it. See this red chart right here? If this goes up, and it's not how high does it reach. That doesn't really matter. What matters is, because you can have one, block with somebody can just make a whole bunch of transactions in one block for fun. But they're not going to be able to afford doing that all the time because they're going to have to pay for the proof of work, right? BSV, if it has an area under the curve, that means people are actually paying for the transactions. Those nodes are getting paid to do transactions. And they're getting paid more than what they're just getting rewarded. They're getting paid with fees. And in the long run, since their reward is going to be nothing, they have to get it all from fees. So if this red line, let's say it somehow makes its way up, but it doesn't just spike, it just continues to kind of go up. And after Terranode, it just kind of goes up there to 80, 90% or something. I mean, think about it. If it just hits 20% and stays steady at 20%, that's significant. That means BSV has an edge. If it goes up to 50%, that's significant because that means that nodes are going to be investing. There's going to be a percentage of nodes out there that are going to decide to invest a percentage of their investment as a long-term investment into trying to process more transactions more efficiently than instead of just finding the hash, finding the nonces, like, buying ASIC machines to just do the proof of work. They're going to actually be processing transactions. Now, if it goes up to 80%, that's significant Because if you think about it, if it's up at 80% consistently, that means they're getting most of their income from fees. And that basically says, like, you know, if the other cryptos, if you want to call it that, are still low, you know, in 10% or lower on average, then if you think about it, that means that it basically is winning. As in, like, it's actually working properly as a utility, as a cryptocurrency, as a cash, as whatever it's doing. It's actually functioning because people are paying to use it as a service. Like, all the nodes are no longer having to rely on essentially investment or pyramid scheme investment. They're actually getting paid to run via fees. So yeah, people could be buying it at that point, but they're not relying on any more inflation. So at that point, it's like, that's significant, because that means, I mean, transaction fees for BSV are so low. So that would have to be a lot of transactions going on. That would have to be a lot of volume. If people are buying and selling stuff, that's history in the making. So I don't know what this red thing is after this point, but somebody please figure that out, because I mean, this is really the metric that we got to be looking for. What does this look like? Does it just kind of stay down? Do you think this is going to go up more with Terranode? Do you think there needs to be a few more business deals where IBM, Visa, MasterCard, I guess Square wouldn't do it because Jack Dorsey, you know, but maybe there's some companies that make some deals and they start using BSV more in a way that is utility, makes use of its utility, I should say. And if this goes up and it's just continuous, then think about the area under that curve. All that represents that represents money. Like, this is BTC, right? This is even bigger down here than it is over here, the area under the curve. The area under the curve represents how much BTC is getting paid, how much these nodes are getting paid as a service, not as a pump, as a try to get the inflation. This means it was being used as a service. Back in 2018, service. Over here, 2019, in May, service. Here, 2021 in April. 2020, this whole, what is this? This is like almost a full year. This is over a year. May of 2021 to June 20. May of 2020 to June of 2021. 10%, right? 10% is not good enough, but at least it's something. But that means that people are willing to pay that money in fees that are expensive fees, right? That's just that's just pyramid scheme fees. That's people willing to, they're probably not, I mean, if it's more expensive than Visa and MasterCard, they're not using it to buy and sell, you know, food or useful small items here or there. They're not using it as a micro service, a microtransaction service. They're using it just to get, you know, some assets. Imagine how big, just imagine, because this is a percentage, right? So if this were to flip-flop and say BSV was a really high used utility, and suddenly the value of it went up to millions. Imagine this. Just imagine how much volume that is, and the transaction fees are low. That means you'd have trillions in weeks. You'd have trillions of transactions all just flowing, just people in its genuine value. Because, I mean, think about it. You go do a transaction right now with a credit card, you pay 25 cents. Imagine paying 10,000th of that. Imagine that being the cost of a house compared to a small, tiny transaction. I mean, that's huge. So somebody find me the chart, because BitInfo Charts doesn't have the history past this. Looks like August of 2021. All right, I'll see you guys next time.